Hey everyone, and welcome back to another Etheria restart video. So in today's video, guys, the patch just went through, maintenance is over, and I was going to make a video on Shiata with, with additional lattices to show how strong she was, but I saw that they put these new heroes in here, and it's making me rethink my lattices. So you have a red damage dealer, which they desperately needed, and he's kind of like on paper, he seems insane. And then this green healer. This character is also nuts. If anyone is struggling in the new shell dungeon, do not use your lattices and wait until this character comes out, because this character is absolutely insane. So we're going to go through both of those characters today, and we're going to talk about like where they're used, how useful they are, and things like that. Okay, so her skill 1 does damage, and then after attacking, there's a 25% chance to reduce all Animus skill cooldowns by 1 turn. Now, the way this reads is that it will reduce your entire party's skill cooldowns. That's an insane A1. At 25% chance that there's a slight reason to run Battle Will here. I say that a lot about Battle Will, where it's just like, there's a chance you should use this. So like this is a really, really cool skill for skill 1. And then her passive, man. Okay. At the start of each turn, purifies 1 debuff from all allies and heals them for 15% of their max HP upon successful purification. If you read level 5 here, it says this effect can still trigger when unable to act. This is such an insane, like, this is a souped up version of Sonya, right? Sonya has a very similar thing, except she's purifying debuffs just from the characters with the lowest HP, and she targets 2 of them. So it can be a little tricky to, find which character you're purifying stuff from and healing. This is just a flat purify across the board AoE, and even if she's stunned, slept, frozen, she's going to be able to activate this. So pretty nuts. Pretty nuts. Crazy, crazy passive. And then this skill 3 is also insane. So it increases all allies' turn meter by 40% and reduces all of their skills and shell cooldowns by 1 turn. Insane ability. Such a huge turn meter push, too. And then it has this other thing where when a unit dies, it reduces the skill cooldown by 2 turns. This is very good. And if this skill was off cooldown when one of your characters died, it just pushes her by 80%. It's nuts. Yeah, this is a crazy unit. So this character, if you're struggling with Chloros, right? Right now, RNG coming in hard. This is usually like an 8-0 clear, and for some reason it's 3-3. I think everyone knows the pain here. So Chloros, right now I have to run Lingluo to hopefully purify the Petrify from Chloros. So this is the thing that this new character will purify all the time. It's also a big turn meter boost because in Chloros, you have to cycle enough turns to make sure this Soul Binder doesn't even have 1 stack on it. If it does, you just automatically die. So the turn meter boost is going to be awesome here. And remember, tomorrow at the making of this video, that's whenever people will be able to get like the SSR ticket, so you can have the Lily if you want for that boost. But yeah, this character is going to be absolutely nuts in Chloros. As soon as she releases, I'll let you know, because I think this character is worth latticing for sure. Something to note is she's not like super fast. However, as I mentioned, you can just run her in very high effect res and speed and play her on that new shell that we just got introduced for the big turn meter push. So you can run her on like Bloodbath Swift Rush if you wanted to. So, make sure that she lives. And then the shell is this one, Reaper Steps. So whenever she resists any debuff, increases her turn meter, and she'll be going pretty quick. And then you get that huge 40% turn meter boost, and you're just cutting in front of everybody. So, yeah. Anyway, that's the first one. So, very, very good character. I think she is the safest character to pull for out of the two, but this guy also seems pretty nuts. Kokardi. Now, he's got a very lengthy passive, which is called Calamity Flame. This is kind of where his whole kit focuses around. The issue I have with damage dealers is they just take so much investment. It's really, really rough because we all know how rough lattices are. And I will say, after this balance patch, they seem to increase the power level of a lot of water characters. So, like from a PvP perspective, I don't know how good this guy's going to be, uh, but let's just talk about his skills. So he does 240% damage and then applies a stack of this Calamity Flame. So what Calamity Flame does is it increases the true indirect damage by Flame Strike, which is his passive. And the damage increase is equal to 1.5% of the target's max HP. So you're doing indirect true damage to the target based on their max HP. So this character, the way that I'm envisioning it, is similar to something like Shiata, where he's a like bruiser, uh, like attack scaling hero. Uh, because you're doing damage based on, the bruiser that you're focusing on or the healer that you're focusing on, and you're dealing damage based on their max HP on top of the additional damage. So it's just like little pings every so often. The reason why he's going to be attack scaling bruiser is because it can't exceed 20% of his attack. The way that that reads is very similar to like Revelation, where Revelation deals damage based on the target's max HP, but it scales off of your attack. So you can't just have like 0 attack. You can, based on the amount of hits you have with Revelation. But if you look at Revelation's individual hits, if your attack doesn't scale very high, the amount of damage that it does is not very significant. So the way that that reads, I think you do need to build him with a little bit of attack, but I think that's where most of your scaling is going to come from, because his skill 3 gives himself crit rate up. So you only have to build him with 70% crit rate, which is really important. And then you can just really ramp up the attack. So on his skill 3, and then we'll talk about the passive, he applies crit rates up to himself for 2 turns. So he does that first, similar to like Yelly, then deals 360% damage to all enemies, and then increases his turn meter by 35%, and applies 3 stacks of Calamity Flame. So this now goes up to 4.5% of the target's max HP. Every time he attacks, he does like true damage there. He's also applying the 35% turn meter. I think this character can be used on something like Jackal Guard, right? I think he can be used with like Swift Smite. He can be used with Swift Smite, Bloodbath, Bulwark, and be run similar to like Holden and stuff like that, because he's given himself a big 35% turn meter boost, and then Jackal Guard's also giving him a 35% turn meter boost while giving him speed up, because the stacks of Calamity Flame, like I said, is where you're going to be doing damage. The issue is he's going to be pretty reliant on healers to keep the train rolling, because he's going to be built with attack instead of like defense, where the Holden or the Rahus are. And then his passive, it says when an ally is alive, he can't be selected as the primary target. So this is really important for, Rahu follow-ups and things like that. This is a pretty interesting skill. They won't be able to burst him down. Um, this effect does not work while under control effect, so this is kind of nice as a nod to crowd control, being able to deal with him still. And it says whenever he has the Calamity Flame effect and then scores a crit, it will deal one additional hit of true indirect damage based on the target's max HP, right? So this is where it's just mentioning this Calamity Flame dealing damage. And then after every 2 actions, this is a uh, weird line of text. I don't know if this is every 2 attacks that he uses, every 2 hits. We'll have to wait and see. He then deals 300% damage to all enemies, increases all allies' turn meter by 20%, and applies crit rate for 2 turns. This seems like this is an AoE crit rate up. So this is also very, very good just for your bruiser teams. Like even pairing him with Shiata is pretty awesome because with Shiata now being a bruiser, it's going to be hard to get Shiata at like 100% crit rate and things of that nature. So you're most likely going to sacrifice some of the crit rate stuff to add a little bit more bulk for Shiata. Just to make sure that she survives. So pairing her with a character like this is pretty cool. Like this isn't just a raw damage dealer. He does AoE damage, he does indirect true damage, he's turn meter boosting your team, and he's doing like these pips of damage with the Calamity Flame while also doing like huge percent numbers of AoE. This is pretty insane. Now, like I said, the thing is figuring out how this scales off of his attack, this is going to be the tricky thing. Stacking this up to 16 times, I don't know when that's coming into play. I think this character can be absolutely nuts when it comes to Ember Trek. If, those fights are extremely long, anti-sync echoes, another one of those places where you can build him in Bloodbath. He's getting turn meter boosting, crit rate, and he's just like pips of damage over time that eventually scales up where every time he attacks, he's just doing huge amounts of damage after the train gets rolling. So he could be more of a character for like crazy end game PvE content, at least with the stacking up. But I believe a lot of people think that this format is going to be slow at the get-go for PvP. So a character like this might be pretty interesting in that regard. Like, this character seems really cool, but he's more of a gamble than the other character. The other character is just like a great support healer where you know what you're getting there. Huge turn meter boost while also healing. That's interesting. This character much harder to build. He certainly needs like full lattice investment where this character, I think she's going to need this skill fully maxed. This one is interesting because this goes on to a 4-turn cooldown, which is kind of important. And then the turn meter boosting, it says right here that it's 35% to 70. So I'm guessing this starts at 30%. This starts at 30%, and this probably starts at 60%. So even at 30%, this is okay. It's just the fact that you want to have that skill reduced down to 4 turns because whenever she uses this, it also reduces the skill cooldown of this. It's very similar to the upgrade that they just made to Tsukiyomi, where her skill cooldown also reduces her own skill cooldown. It says all Animus, not all other ally Animus skill cooldowns. So yeah, this reads like it reduces her own skill cooldowns. So this character probably needs 8 lattices if you really want to maximize her. When it comes to PvP, you need the full turn meter boost. I don't think this skill needs to be latticed, although this is probably where speed is. Yep. But yeah, like I said, I don't think you're going to need the speed lattices for her, at least for PvE. For PvP, all of that matters, but with the large amount of turn meter boost that you can get from the new shell, you still might be able to get away with it. High end PvP, like top 200, yeah, you can't get away with no lattice characters. So anyway, guys, I wanted to talk about those new characters because if you were thinking of latticing these heroes that they just buffed, I don't know. I might think again because yeah, these characters are insane. Okay, that's all I got for you. Hope you have a great day. Catch you on the next one. See ya.